Daniel Jacobs' performance, overall his effort?
I thought it was a good performance. I thought it was an intriguing fight. I don't think it was necessarily the order that we thought we might get, but there was at times. I thought it was a very high-class fight, high-level fight between two elite fighters. I thought Danny had a relatively poor first half of the fight, and I thought that he won the back end of the fight, sort of 115, 113. And I think he kicked himself a little bit, but it's easy to say. If you would have tried to be a little bit more aggressive in the fight, he took some big shots. You know, and so did Canelo. They both showed great shit.
What are the plans for Daniel Jacobs?
I think it's something that him and Andre will talk about. I see him moving to 168. I think he's had a brilliant run at 160. And obviously now with the landscape, with Canelo potentially fighting Triple G, if that happens, and Demetrius waiting with the wings with the undisputed fight, I think the time is right for Danny to move up to the 168 division now. I think he'll be a new challenge. I think he'll be a different monster there as well. And if that's what his team decides, I think that'll be a wise move.
Is there no protest on your end in terms of the scorecards? Any protest on your...
115, 113, you know, if I score at 115, 113, then you can have 116, 112, you can have a draw, but the right now, I think that's a genuine consensus.
Yeah. Are these the fights that are going to make the zone the biggest platform for boxing? Are these the fights that are going to make the zone the biggest platform for boxing?
Sure, every fight fan just paid $100 for $90 on a regular pay-per-view platform, and tonight they got it part of the monthly schedule, or they bought an annual pass for the same price. It's given 100 fight nights a year.
Yeah.
So, coming up, we've got a show next Friday. You've got the World Boxing Super Series. You've got the heavyweight debut of Alexander Usyk against Carlos Takam. You've got the American debut of unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz. You've got the return of Gennady Golovkin. You've got the defence of the WBA world champion Demetrius Andre. That's just still the end of June. That's not including the MLB. That's not including, like I said, the World Boxing Super Series, the Bellator event. So, you know, if you spend tonight the normal price of one pay-per-view, congratulations. You just got 1 year of the sun. And in that same year, you're going to see fights like Canelo against Triple G, you know, Joshua against Usyk, potentially Joshua against Wilder. So the value is incredible.
How was the atmosphere being from the UK, coming here, the biggest stage, T-Mobile Arena? How was the atmosphere?
Talk about the atmosphere?
Yeah.
Well, the atmosphere was fantastic. I thought the whole week has been fantastic. From Golden Boy, from the Zone, you know, the 40-day series, to party, Hennessy, the activations going on outside. I thought it was a fantastic week, a fantastic event put on. I want to also thank Golden Boy for the opportunity for John Ryder. That was a big win for him tonight. WBA interim world champion. He's now a mandatory challenger for Cameron Smith. And you know, when the David Lemieux fight fell through, I wouldn't have been offended if Eric and Robert told me that John Ryder was off the card. So I want to thank them for keeping him on. And also, you know, they gave one of their fighters a big opportunity tonight. It was a great performance from John Ryder.
Jacobs, a rematch is not necessarily needed, and Golovkin's going to probably be there after Steve rolls.
I mean, he's in a great position. He's in a great position. He's the king right now. We're going to do... I lost my voice. Oh, sorry. I lost my voice. You know, we're going to do what we always do with Canelo, which is, you know, we get together, Oscar and I, Roberto Diaz, we get together with the team, and with his team, and we look at all the top guys. You know, one of the fights that Canelo's told us that he would love to do, is Callum Smith. And I think, you know, Eddie had know some people at Wembley Stadium there. So that would be a great event there. So, you know, this guy's the limit. You know, yeah, he said in the South African fight, he wants to fight all the top fights. Whatever the fans want, whatever the biggest challenge is. If it's a Golovkin fight, then we're going to sit down and we'll talk about that. But he's in a great position right now. Very few fighters get to enjoy a position. Anthony Joshua's in the same position. They can pick and choose who they want to fight.
This one's for Eddie Turner. With a lot of talent with the zone at the 160-pound division, you could say that for Danny Jacobs, there's a lot of great matchups to be made. You know, talking about a round robin at 168, a lot of PBC guys politics getting in the way with only Callum Smith, the matchroom guy, being a champion. As much as it would be great to see at 168 Andy fighting, is 160 still probably a more realistic option as far as making fights happen that he wants to have?
No, I think when you look at the landscape, you have two BBC guys who are world champions at 168, one matchroom guy, and I believe the WBO title has become vacant for a gift for Billy Joe Saunders next week. So I would say it's a division controlled by the BBC. They have two world champions. We'd love to make the David Benavidez fight with Canelo Smith. I think that's a great fight. We'd love to make the Canelo fight with Canelo Smith. That's an opportunity for Canelo to move up the magazine championship at 168 pounds as well as 160 that he holds. I think Callum's in a good position. You can see him on June 1st. Madison Square Garden will announce that next week. And I just think that having spoken to Dan backstage, he'll be up here now. I think the answer will give you is that he has the
Thank you.
We hear Canelo's 2 minutes away, 2 minutos. First of all, let me just say that what a wonderful weekend. What a beautiful weekend for Cinco de Mayo. Felicidades a todos. Feliz Cinco. Is it already 12 midnight? No. Felicidades 5 de Mayo. Gracias por todo el apoyo que todos los medios nos dan. Todos los medios de México, gracias. Fue la verdad que algo muy especial, increíble, y ganó nuestro campeón en una pelea cerrada, una pelea bien difícil, como decíamos, pero ganó. Así que ahora para la próxima, obviamente ahora hay que descansar y analizar el futuro, pero ahora hay que celebrar el 5 de mayo. I just said in Spanish, I just said gracias. I just said in Spanish that, happy Cinco de Mayo. And thank you very much to all the media who just makes this possible. Without you guys, we wouldn't have the wonderful stories and the message to subscribe to the Zone. The Zone is taking over. It's taking over boxing. And we are very, very pleased and happy that all you writers have been sending that wonderful message. Canelo's 2 minutes away, and it was a wonderful fight. Jacobs is an amazing competitor, he's an amazing champion. We all said it was going to be very difficult and tough. I had Canelo winning by 2-3 points. Maybe one draw. One of the rounds was a draw, tie. But Jacobs is just. I told you guys, he is a warrior. So we're very pleased with everything, and we thank you, the media who makes it possible, who sends that message out to the consumer. And we proved tonight once again with Eddie Hearn, with the Zone, with Golden Boy that this is boxing's destination for a very long time. The Zone. Any questions? 2 more minutes. Con las mueras. Pero no, la próxima pelea no tenemos nada que hemos hablado, no hay nada que hemos discutido. Hay muchas opciones para el Canelo, pero lo primero es lo primero. Hay que descansar, hay que gozar la victoria y en tiempo vamos a anunciar los próximos planes para el Canelo. Hay muchas opciones. Canelo puede pelear en las 160, 68, 75. Vieron a Golovkin aquí en la arena, vieron a Demetrius Andrade aquí en la arena. Está Smith, Callum Smith, que también es un gran campeón. Está Kovalev en las 175 libras. Canelo tiene muchas opciones, así que veremos a ver qué vamos a hablar en las próximas semanas, pero lo primero hay que descansar. Canelo has many options, as you know, and there's nobody that he doesn't want to face, but he has many options, and that's the wonderful part about being the man in the sport of boxing. Is that everybody wants to fight him, whether it's at 175, whether it's at 160 or 168, he has many challenges. And there's one thing about Canelo that he never shies away from, and that's a challenge.
Oscar, over here.
Yes, sir.
Two things. Would you say that this fight, the way that it progressed, could have been like a test of wheels of both fighters? And you mentioned in practice that. Would you say that he could be a top contender for Canelo's next fight?
Well, I'm not saying he's a top contender for next fight, but Canelo's wishes have always been to unify all the belts. But there's different scenarios that can take place. You know, you remember the days when a fighter loses a world title and you have to work your way back up. You know, Golovkin is knocking on Canelo's door. I mean, he was right here knocking on his door. Demetrius Andrade is right here watching Canelo, and he's knocking on his door. Smith is knocking on his door. Kovalev is knocking on his door. We want to create the right scenario. I mean, look, first thing is first. It has to rest up, and then we'll huddle up and make decisions as a team. But one thing about Canelo, he never shies away from a challenge. That's for sure.
And we can see future events with you and Eddie Hearn working together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, Golden Boy and Matchroom USA understand what boxing, the boxing fan, the consumer, what boxing is all about, what boxing needs, and that's the best fights. Period. We have the best platform. We're on the same platform. We're working together. We can make many fights together, and that's our future plans, is to work together and show every other promoter out there that you can work together. I mean, we've proved it in the past. We've worked with Bob Arum, we've worked with Al Heyman, we've worked with any promoter out there, you name them, and we've worked with them. And we've lost fights and we've won fights. But the wonderful part about working together is that you give the consumers the best fights possible. And that's what we tend to do.
Hey, Oscar, how much is Mexico in play for Canelo's next fight in September?
I really couldn't tell you that. I really couldn't tell you that. Look, the wonderful thing about the zone is that it allows us to travel the world and fight anywhere. You know, Canelo has expressed interest in fighting in the UK. He obviously wants to fight in Mexico. He wants to go back to Dallas with Jerry Jones. He loves New York, so we'll have to just sit down and really think about his next move. But first thing is first. We're all going to get some rest, and so we can all think clearly in a couple of weeks and make the right decision.
Oscar, Elías Quijada de Deportes de México, preguntarle, ¿descartarías 100% el próximo 15 de septiembre o en septiembre, en este caso, Canelo contra Triple G3?
No, todo es posible. Una trilogía con Triple G es muy posible. Obviamente el Canelo él siempre lo ha demostrado que él siempre va a pelear con los mejores del mundo y no le huye a nadie. Así que lo primero es lo primero. Vamos a descansar, analizar las cosas muy bien y sentarnos con el equipo de Canelo y hacer las decisiones correctas para que todos lo vean. 2 minutes, guys. You know, he compares my career and Julio Cesar Chavez's career. And look, I mean, we all write our own stories, and Canelo at 20 years old is doing a phenomenal job at being in the helm of the sport. He's driving the vehicle. He's doing a great job carrying the sport on his back. And what I've noticed over the years is that the opponents are getting stronger. They're getting faster. They're getting more knowledgeable compared to our opposition when I was fighting, when Chavez was fighting, when anybody was fighting. Everything evolves. You know, fighters get heavier. They get faster, they get stronger. I truly feel Canelo's doing an excellent job. I mean, who fights Triple D and then fights Jacobs back to back to back? I mean, it's that you have to remember.
Did you feel also that Canelo showed aspects of the game like defense and movement, other aspects of his offense tonight that the defense was good at?
Yeah, no, the defense was a huge factor because I love the way Canelo moved his head from all those punches and bunches that Jacob was throwing. I mean, his combinations, as you witnessed, were lightning fast, and Canelo was able to dodge them, to bob and weave, and so I mean, he did an excellent job. He did an excellent job. Yeah, Jacob. So, I mean, look, we just got word that Jacob was walking in, but I'm telling you, I will never, ever talk anything negative about Jacobs because, you know, when I took him down to the USO tour in Basra in Iraq and we went to go visit the troops and you know, he was a gentleman, he was a hard worker, he was disciplined, and so it was a special treat for me to see a fighter like Jacobs there, you know, lending his time overseas, you know, with the troops. So that's why I always admire Jacobs. That's why I always spoke highly of him. So, I mean, Eddie Hearn has an incredible fighter on his hands with Daniel Jacobs, so we have to give Daniel Jacobs a round of applause for putting on an amazing fight.
Sorry for having you guys wait. I was trying to use the restroom. I gotta go back and watch this performance. I didn't feel my best. I felt as if I did enough to get the victory, especially with the conversations that I had with my tournament. I mean, I know it was back and forth action, but it was really, for me, it was really kind of early on, it was really hard to get the rhythm of Canelo. And I felt once I got the rhythm, then I started to push it back and it became a really, really competitive fight. I'm just hopeful that you guys enjoyed the fight. This was, for me, a great experience being a part of such a big event as this. It doesn't get any higher than this, and I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to please all the fans that tuned in and everyone that showed up tonight. Canelo is a warrior, obviously, and for me, I just have to go back to the drawing board and see what I can do better. But it's questionable for me if I'm going to stay in the middleweight division because it is taking a toll on my body and it's showing. I might have outgrown the middleweight division and I might take my talents to super middleweight. We'll see. I'll talk to my team, but for the most part, I thought I did enough to win. And once I go back to see this fight on the replay, I'll be able to give a better assessment. But I just thank everybody for being so supportive. All the media for hyping the fight up. This is definitely, hopefully it lived up to the hype. But I'm sure I gave everything that I thought I could. man, it was a great experience. I just loved to go in there and give a great show in boxing. And I had a perfect opponent, a perfect contender to go inside there and battle with me and give you guys a great show. So thank you guys very much. This would not be the end of me. I'm sure you guys see this.
Hey, Mr. Jacobs, Cameron Buford here, LA News Observer. I got a question. You kind of touched on it about the weight there. I was going to ask you, how did that play into the fight? And on top of that, how did the weight class situation play into the fight? Did that play with your mind at all in your preparation?
The weight class didn't play into my mind at all. I knew it was a sacrifice that I had to take because the 10-day weigh-in for me was just a lot. And just me rehydrating with water, I shot up to 170. That was just water alone. So I know that my body definitely needed to rehydrate. And I definitely needed to put a little bit more in my system. So that was a sacrifice that I took. Me and my team came up with the plan that that would be the best decision for me to go in there and give my all and not be more depleted than what we already was. I'm a naturally big guy, and I might have just so grown middleweight division, but man, I'm extremely happy. This is for me a dream come true still. Win, lose, or draw, I was able to perform at the highest level, and it's very humbling. The opportunities that I've had that I obviously didn't present itself due to my past. And now that I have all these tremendous people, hopefully I gained a couple of fans as well, but now that I have all those tremendous people backing me, I mean, I still think that I have a career that should be thriving after this because super middleweight division is still jam-packed, and we'll see what happens.
Danny here in front of your left. Two questions for you. Was there anything in the first 4 or 5 rounds where you lost those rounds that Canelo was doing that was causing you trouble? And then secondly, when you hit him with the left hook in the 9th round, were you surprised that he was able to take it as well as he did and get himself out of danger so quickly?
You know, everything happened kind of so fast. I don't believe that I lost the first 5 rounds. I did think that it took maybe 2 to 3 rounds for me to get his rhythm. And I thought he would be a little bit more active than what he was, but he's a strong force. Even though I'm a bigger guy, you can tell, you know, he was there to fight. We both was banging. We both was landing, and it's just one of those things that you can go back and forth with, you know, the judging style or you know, how you gauge an actual fight. The only thing I can do is go back to the tape and actually make my assessment on it, but I can't do that right now because this is right after the fight.
Andy Strickland. So what's like your thoughts about Canelo Alvarez's defense? I mean, he's known more or less as an offensive-minded fighter. Tonight, he seemed his defense was extremely strong. According to the CompuBox stats, only made 20% of your punches. That's obviously a little lower than we probably would have liked. Can you talk about what you thought of his defense tonight?
It was definitely a little tricky. I mean, I've always known Canelo had great upper body movement, and that's exactly what we had. And that's what he displayed. I've been vocal about that. You know, this whole press tour about his upper body movement was exceptionally well. I knew what we were facing. And I just thought that I did enough just to kind of tweak it out in my mind, and especially from the conversations we had in the corner. But I take my hats off to him. I'm not one of those guys who, even in a close decision, you know, I still take my hat off to the man facing the ring, facing me across the ring, because it takes a true champion to get inside the ring with anybody at this level.
Jacob, do you think it was necessary or help you to change your guards that you did? Or do you think it was a mistake? Because we see when you did that, Canelo was hitting you better. And the second question is, do you surprise Canelo take the best shot?
Let me get to your first question first. I wasn't surprised that he was able to take some pretty good shots. And I don't know, like I said, I don't really remember the fight to be able to answer your first question, but I do think that I was very effective in my southpaw stance. I wanted to trade a little bit more, but his timing was really good as far as knowing when to punch and when to kind of back off. So for me, it's just really about going back to the drawing boards and seeing what I can do better.
Yeah.
El gran campeón mexicano, Saúl Canelo Alvarez. Does that answer your question?
Do that answer your question? I was scared of somebody else too. Somebody can talk fiction. Well, yeah. I mean, now, he ain't that
Round of applause to the champ. Come on, guys. Round of applause.
Muchas gracias a todos, gracias por su apoyo y muy contento porque todo salió como esperábamos. Y pues es un gran peleador, difícil, lo sabíamos que teníamos que tener la paciencia que tuvimos para ganar y ganando round con round y gracias a Dios tenemos otro título más, ¿no? Y quiero agradecerles a todos que siempre me han brindado y vamos por más todavía.
I want to thank everybody for being here, for the support. I'm very happy, I'm very content because everything came out the way we worked hard for. And we always knew going into the fight that Jacobs was going to be difficult, strong, but that's what we prepared for. And I'm very happy to add another belt, another title to my books, to my history, and we're going to continue working and continue winning titles and continue making history. Questions, please?
Who's next? ¿Quién sigue? ¿Quién sigue?
Esa buena conozco.
I know that voice. Who is it? Where is she?
Ahorita pues descansar, ¿no? Ver con mi equipo de trabajo qué es lo que sigue, pero sin duda creo que representa un reto para mí.
Right now, the first thing is vacation, a little rest. Without a doubt, the next step would be anything that brings up another challenge.
Pues mi objetivo es ganar los 4 títulos, pero el campeón del otro título va a pelear en junio, entonces es muy cerca para septiembre, entonces vamos a ver qué es lo que sigue, porque nosotros peleamos en septiembre otra vez.
My objective is to fight for another title, but the current champion, that's the only other champion fights in June. You all know my fights are in September, that might be too close, so we're gonna think about it as a team and come up with a decision. And I can bring up, I hope that now everybody says, Trainer of the Year, they don't recognize him enough. Eddie Reynoso, to say a few words, please. Good evening.
Pues agradecidos con todos los que esperaron aquí esta tarde.
I want to thank everybody that stayed behind and waited. I know it's late.
Y pues como sabíamos, era una pelea difícil, peligrosa.
And we knew going in it was going to be a difficult fight, a dangerous fight.
El único mal sabor de boca que me queda es que Jacobs salió a sobrevivir 12 rounds, salió a intentar ganar una pelea.
The only bad taste I leave with is that Jacobs, for the 12 rounds, almost fought like in a survival mode. Didn't come really to win the fight.
Y a veces es difícil ofrecer un buen espectáculo para la gente y también que muestre Saúl cosas arriba del ring.
And that makes it difficult to give the kind of performance, the kind of event that the fans that you guys want to see. It also makes it difficult for Canelo, to go out and perform and do the things he wants to do.
Pero también estoy muy contento porque ganamos otro cinturón y también mostró Saúl un movimiento de cintura, una defensa muy buena. Creo que vamos por muy buen camino, nos falta mucho todavía por hacer y vamos a seguir trabajando.
But I'm very happy at the same time because look, we won another title, another belt, and that's the goals we've set. And also he showed you all the defense he's bringing in every fight, so always getting better and better. And today you saw the defense, how he took off the punches and moved his waist.
Muchas gracias y nos vemos primeramente Dios en diciembre.
Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you again, hopefully in September. Ladies and gentlemen, also, Don Chepo Reynoso, please give up a round of applause.
Buenas noches, contento nuevamente de estar aquí con todos ustedes y sobre todo por celebrar este gran triunfo. De veras fue un gran triunfo. El único puntito oscuro fue que dice por ahí que hasta para hacer la noche ocupan dos, también para pelear se ocupan dos. Hoy Saúl propuso la pelea, desgraciadamente Jacob salió a no ser noqueado y bueno, pues así no se puede, no sé, queda un saborcito amargo de boca porque la gente merecía más. Yo siento que la gente salió contenta con el triunfo, pero la gente merecía más, merecía que Saúl lo conectara, como se le veía en la mirada. Quiero colocarlo, pero no estaba, les daba salida. Pero me quedo con el triunfo y me quedo con la gran exhibición que nos dio de defensa. La verdad, una hermosa defensa que a mí me apasiona mucho. Su movimiento de cintura y vean su carita. Dos cerrados ante un tremendo peleador y su cara está limpia. Muchas gracias.
I'm going to try to remember some of this. He's very happy, obviously, winning another title, adding another belt to Canelo's history. A little bit of the dark cloud that he has, that he walks away with, a little sour, is, it was hard for him to show the fans and show you all what a spectacular performance he could do, or possibly a knockout, because like in everything, it takes two to tango. We knew going in, Jacob's ability was tough, but she needed to. But we're very happy, and we'll continue making history. Thank you very much.
Canelo, was the best thing about tonight, they mentioned your head movement and your defense. Was that the best thing, or was it the fact that really you were kind of like in another super middleweight fight, and as the fight was going on in the later rounds, you found that will to kind of win those last couple of rounds and win the fight?
Todo en general creo que todo fue muy bueno. El movimiento de cintura, la paciencia que tuve para poder enfrentar a un peleador como es difícil. Ir ganando la pelea, sabíamos que los primeros asaltos iban a ser los más complicados y después de ahí iba a adaptarme, ¿no?, al estilo, y así fue. Jacobs es un peleador que no le puedes conectar más de 3 golpes, no, tienes que irlo conectando un golpe, 2 golpes. Entonces, una pelea difícil, pero gracias a Dios mostramos cosas que tenemos para mostrar y ganamos, eso es lo más importante, ¿no? Siempre ganar.
We knew obviously going in, but everything in general I'm happy with. We knew he was going to be a difficult fight, complicated. We knew we would also adapt going into the rounds as we time, but it's very hard to do it with Jacobs. So landing a combination of 4 or 5 punches, you can land 1, you can land 2, maybe 3 punches, then it would be moving and changing. But overall, we're very happy. Added another title, and again, added this.
Canelo, felicidades.
One more question, please.
Canelo, felicidades. ¿Qué le puedes decir?
Congratulations on your victory,
Can you move your
Canelo.
head, please? Su cabeza, por favor. No, gracias.
My question for you is, I know you mentioned, or maybe it was, I'm not sure, somebody on your team mentioned the prospect of going another title, and it sounds like Demetrius Andre has the fight in June, so maybe you said it was a little too close to your September date. Putting the fact that he's fighting in June aside, can you give me your thoughts about the possibility of a fight against Demetrius Andre and the prospect of becoming the undisputed champion?
Sí, no, el que tenga el título, eso es lo que queremos el título y pues obviamente ese es el objetivo, no vamos a sentarnos con otro equipo a ver qué es lo que viene, pero el objetivo es ganar los 4 títulos, eso es lo que
Yes, that's the goal. Look, whoever has the title, doesn't matter. Our goal is to unify all the belts, become the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. We're going to sit with our team, and we'll come back with a decision. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.